on the whole year talking about the Global Fund 8 replenishment, right? This very briefly has been about getting these global leaders, world leaders, governments, private sector to fill up the kitty so that the Global Fund can continue to do the work that it does around HIV, TB and malaria, especially given all the funding cuts that we experienced and given the geopolitical issues that we are dealing with as well. And so it was important that the Global Fund meets its target so that we could save millions more lives, a million more lives, right? Projected around just over 20 million more lives would be saved with this new investment. And so that has been my conversation the whole year, talking about the Global Fund and what we're about. Now, usually when there is a replenishment year, because it happens, the cycle happens every 3 years, it's literally a competition between countries on some, oh, we're going to give 5 rand, oh, we're going to give 10 rand, oh, we're going to give, you know. And so there becomes, at the end of it all, usually towards the end of the year, where presidents are in the room, or if not presidents, quite senior level people, because it could be the Minister of Health of that country, it could be the Minister of International Relations of that country, just to say, as a country, this is how much we're pledging to the Global Fund. So it's a whole big event, lights, action, camera, it's really amazing. Now, being selected as one of the 4 fabricates for this year, my role was to really tell my story through the fabric that I created. I've had tons of fun with this fabric. I've really had an opportunity to find myself in rooms and spaces that ordinarily I wouldn't have found myself in. And being able to tell my story, the same story, more than 20 years later, but being able to touch and feel it was just really such a profound and moment for me, but such an honor towards my father's legacy around this work. And really just reminding me that when you stay true to your cause, it doesn't matter how many years go by, your cause is your cause, you know, but that's another lesson for another day. So there I was now planning alongside the Global Fund and the other 3 fabricates, the showstopper, you know. We had Global Youth Choir there. It was at the Sandton Convention Center alongside the G20 World Leaders Summit. This was obviously intentional. The world leaders were already in Africa, in South Africa, which was great. And now it was going to be time for us to hear from all these world leaders and governments how much they are pledging. So, there I was. We were just about to get on stage for our mini performance, which we did. We got off stage. We then knew at that moment that His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa would be going on to then obviously talk about South Africa's investment towards the Global Fund. So even though we're a country that receives from the Global Fund, we are a country that first puts in to the kitty, because our money must go save others in Rwanda, some in Cambodia, you know, wherever people need the help. So we're not just a recipient country, we're also a donor country. Now, everyone obviously stands up. He's entering the room. He then gets on stage. Guess what the man was wearing as a scarf? Just guess. Just guess. Just guess. Silk fabric of my pattern. Like, there was a moment and nobody had said anything to me. Nobody said to me that was going to happen. I do feel like that was a last minute thing that happened. Somebody was like, oh, well, if you're going to wear a scarf, you got to wear the South African one. Duh. Well, of course, I love my fellow fabricates. One is from Nigeria, one is from Indonesia, the other one is from Bolivia. This is a South African president, though. My president, right? My president. So he wore my bag. Guys, I had a moment there back. I was like, what? Do you understand that that's the highest office in the country? Do you, like, that's the first person in the country. Like, they can bomb us all, God forbid, but he must not die. had anything happened to him that day, he would have had my scarf on. Like, guys, what a way to end it off, so proud. And obviously when he was done speaking, we were then invited on stage. He comes up to me and he says, I'm proud of you, thank you for the work that you do. Day ended. I went home and looked at my kids and I was like, y'all have a badass mom. Like, you guys, you clocked the mother lota, Nina. You just don't know it yet. Just wait for it. One day you'll know, But yeah, guys, I was just so proud, I think, and of course, I think more than anything, so grateful that there was somebody at the Global Fund in January 2025 who said, there are 4 people whom we believe are going to be great for the replenishment campaign. And Sibu, you are one of them. And this is why. It's testament to the hard work and more than anything, the consistency, right? Of remaining true to the purpose for this long. And even though people will see that about you, you still need to show up and still give people that. And so that was an amazing moment. I hope he kept the scarf. It's a nice scarf. I mean, just as a break from the South African flag from time to time. I hope he kept the scarf, and I hope when he wears it, he realizes that on his shoulders, he carries the lives of so many people who've been saved, but also the lives of the millions more we need to find and save. Yebo, there was the G20 Social Summit. So alongside, for the first time last year actually in Brazil. So all the other G20 summits, world summits, they've never had a social summit. For the first time in Brazil last year, alongside just before the World Leaders Summit, they pulled together all partners, right? So, civil society, private sector, even governments, to come together and unpack the policy pack. Because remember, I spoke to you guys about the fact that the G20 is really about handing a piece of document over to world leaders to think about what are some of the pressing issues in those countries on the ground. So it is from climate 20 to business 20 to disability 20 to civil society 20 to, there's just so many, there are about 11 official engagement groups of G20. And it's really to give world leaders, as they decide on what the priorities are in the world, an idea of what those are. So as they go back, they go, out of all the countries in Europe, climate change is seriously an issue. So that's something we must focus on. The African issues were really important because South Africa is the only country in G20 outside of African Union, which was an invited member this year. But really, the role of those engagement groups was to make sure that, and that's why C20, the one that we were involved with, the one I was involved with, we made sure that we involved other African countries. Because we know South Africa is the one that's got the permanent residency in the G20, but we carry the challenges of many African countries very similarly. And so really the G20 Social Summit was now about press and play on that. It was about making sure that we are giving the world leaders an opportunity to read what's happening on the ground, to understand what's happening on the ground, and they got it. And that declaration that they sign, that they all agree on, that this is how we're going to move forward, carries bits and pieces of these 11 engagement groups. So being a part of the G20 Social Summit was really exciting. When I say it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I really mean it, because should G20 Summit come back to South Africa again, it would be, first of all, the next 20 years minimum, right? And if it does come back, it might be longer than that because other African countries might join and then they might be given the opportunity to host before it ever comes back to South Africa. So in our lifetime, that has happened and it might never come back again, right? So really a moment, and every day when I woke up to work on C20, to be a part of G20 Social Summit side events, I was really intentional and really knowing that this is where I am. This is this is a moment, right? It's historic. It's one to be really enjoyed. It was really like World Cup vibes. It's like World Cup vibes because the world is big. Things can go anyway. So when they come, really an amazing opportunity. So yeah, that was the G20 Social Summit.